and we're live! Finally it works! Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Welcome to the Chaos Mind, where we talk about all the deep and meaningful stuff that goes on inside of the grey matter that is in between our ears. Today we are following on from the video that was yesterday, which is we create our own suffering. And the reason I wanted to keep talking about this is I am noticing more and more as I step back from getting involved in a whole bunch of arguments and discussions and debates and the who's, the what's, the when, the why's, the how's, and ins and outs of a duck's bucket of what's going on right now, the more I'm noticing other people do it. Alright? This concept of suffering that I was talking about yesterday, how we human beings are the creators of their own suffering, and that we absolutely delight ourselves in creating our own suffering, is because we see something that triggers us in anger, in hate, in sadness, in fear, in doubt, in disbelief, and we have to correct it. We have to put across our own realities and our own thoughts to correct it so that people understand, no, I'm not thinking this way, no, I'm not part of this crowd, no, I'm not a part of this, no, this is how I think, this is how I believe, this is what I do. We don't need to do that. We don't need to justify ourselves to anybody why we are the way we are, why we think, act, say, do, and be, being who we are and why we are who we are. And it's a huge concept to kind of grasp, right? It's a huge concept to have that assertiveness, to within yourself, to have that confidence in yourself, that self-belief, your self-esteem to some point, and turn around to people and go, you know what? I will run my own race. I will do my own thing. I will walk my own path because this is what is true to me. This is what I believe. This is what I understand. And this is how I'm going to live my life because it's what's best for me. So many people don't do that. So many people don't do that. And it's hard. It is really hard not to go with the flow. It's really hard not to go with the crowd, not to follow the path that's been laid before you, thinking that, this is a path that actually works. So you have to follow the path that somebody else has done. You can take the path that somebody else has done and tweak it to form your own path. Just because you started out on that path doesn't mean you have to follow it. Really good example of this is intuitive marketing, right? If you listen to and for all of my business people out there, I'm probably going to get hit with something here, but bear with me. All of the marketing gurus that are out there saying this is the way it's done, this is where you have to be, this is how you get on YouTube, this is Facebook, this is Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn, and now MeWe and Tumblr has been added to the mix because more and more people are actually going over to MeWe and Tumblr. They are non-censored, for one. You can post literally anything and everything. It is not scrubbed. You have a bill of rights on these platforms that you can then follow. You have a freedom of speech, a whole bunch of things why people are going over there. And all of the marketing gurus say, this is how you get people. You have to make sure you're in groups. You have to have your page. You have to have your landing page and your funnels and your blog and your website and all of these things that are going on. All of these things that are going on. You have to have it all. But what they don't tell you is that it takes years sometimes to get to that point. Unless you have money to throw into it, to pay a social media manager so that you don't have to worry about all the little posts that happen every single day, right? If I sat and did all of my posts every single day, I wouldn't get to do this. Like, I wouldn't get to come and give you guys the golden nuggets. I wouldn't be able to go and then coach to my groups. I would be stuck doing all of these posts everywhere across all the different social media platforms that I'm on. It's not it's not the easiest thing in the world. It's not. Sometimes you have to focus on one thing, or you have to pick what you want to do, right? If you don't want to do email marketing, don't do email marketing. If you don't want to have a website, don't have a website. You don't need a website. You have Facebook. You have social media, right? Your social media can be your website. It can tell everyone everything about you and your business and what you stand for. You could do it on YouTube. YouTube could be your website. Instagram could be your website. Twitter could be your website. And where you're posting things and where you're doing things, that's totally up to you, right? And yes, there's a point to suffering of all this. It's because people get so hung up on having to have exactly the same thing, that all of these big name gurus and everything that's out there, you have to have exactly the same that they do. So they put themselves in debt, they financially ruin themselves, they stress themselves out, they get to the point where literally they're doing a million things at once because they don't have the money to go and invest, but they still want to have to keep up with all of this. and they burn out. They drop out. They have these massive, oh my God, I can't do it, this is all too much moments. And they walk away for days, weeks, months, years from whatever they were doing, whatever they were building. The business that they were doing, maybe it was an affiliate thing, or who knows, maybe it was a direct sales, maybe you're basically running a franchise, right? It all comes down to what resonates with you. And the reason that this suffering is such a big thing is because we don't see ourselves as immeasurable. We don't see ourselves as infinite possibilities, infinite intelligence, infinite opportunities. We don't see the infinite. We see the one. And 1 plus 1 equals 2. 1 plus 1 is never equal to. I hate to burst your bubble. It hasn't, but that's another story for another time. We need to understand that there is immeasurable possibilities out there for us. There is immeasurable love for the people that we are trying to reach, to help, that we want to talk to, that we want to interact with. There is immeasurable compassion that we need to have for anyone that's coming to us to solve a problem. We have to have immeasurable joy, which means you find joy in everything that you possibly can. And immeasurable equanimity. That's the other one that everyone forgets, is that everyone is equal. Everyone has equal opportunities. Whether you think you do or you don't, you do. Everyone has equal opportunities. It's what you do with what is given to you, that is what is important. You have all of these immeasurable things that you have access to, all these possibilities and opportunities, infinite, limitless. And yet we don't see it. We feel that we are defined by our class, by our religion, where we grew up, in the town that we grew up, in the country that we grew up, that we didn't have access to all of these different things that privileged people have. And yes, I've had that word thrown at me many times. To set the record straight, once again, I paid for all of my own schooling. Okay? I paid for all of my own schooling. I worked night shift while going to university and going to school. I've done the 2 jobs to keep going to school and then to still run this business that I'm running now. I've done that. I know what it's like to hustle. I know what it's like to never give up. And I know before anyone says it, you're white. Before anyone says it, all right? You have so many opportunities because of my skin color. No, I don't. Do you know the amount of people that slap you down because you don't have a master's or a PhD in something, for something that these are the requirements of the job, but they slap you down, or they slap you down because you're overqualified? That's a real thing as well. That's what I've been facing for the last year, which is why I have been building Galactic Health so much and focusing just on this so much, is because I'm literally overqualified for any job that I apply for. Whether it be for a checkout, whether I go back to moving, or I try and get into a business position, or I try and get into real estate, or I try and get into marketing, I'm overqualified. So what do? You either keep going and you get that master's or you get that PhD, and then you go back to them and they go, oh, I'm sorry, the position has been filled. Or do you do your own thing? I chose to do my own thing. I will always choose to do my own thing, what is good for me and my family, because that brings me happiness, to be home with my kids when my kids get home. As much as I complained about homeschooling at the start of it, I actually started to really enjoy homeschooling. It was something that, oh my God, this is like so tedious, and I'm teaching my kids, this is not the way that's supposed to be done in class. Like, what I knew of teaching practices did not work. It did not work at a homeschooling. I had to change everything. I had to get creative. I had to do my own thing to teach exactly the same lessons that were being taught in class. Doing your own thing works. When you do your own thing, you have that immeasurable love for yourself, unconditional love, metta, right? You have that immeasurable compassion for yourself and for your journey and for others, because they are also going through this whole hamster wheel. That is what we call karuna. You have immeasurable joy, that gratitude when you find it in all the little things that are around you. We call that mudita. And then the equanimity that everyone is equal. Everyone has access to these limitless, infinite possibilities and opportunities. That is upekkha. Upekkha. So all of these immeasurables, all of these infinite, limitless are there. You just have to be ready to see them. You have to stop looking at all the negative that comes into your life, all the hard things that are happening in your life, and start focusing on what you can do, what you can control, what you have the power to change. And it's hard. Like, so many times you're going to get slapped on by friends, by family, by your work colleagues, by your schoolmates, by society. They're going to tell you to stop, to go back to the normal. They're going to call you crazy. They're going to tell you that this is going to blow up in your face. And you know what? It might all blow up in your face sometimes. I've had things blow up in my face. I'm still here. I still keep going because I don't know my limits. I don't know my limits anymore. I'm looking for my limits. And that happens when you look at the immeasurable things that are out there. When you understand that there is literally infinite possibilities that are presented to you. You have no limits. You didn't fail. You learned how not to do something. That's as true a quote as like 150 years ago as it is now. Napoleon Hill. Actually, sorry, no, it wasn't. It was Edison when he was creating the light bulb. I didn't discover 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. I didn't fail. I didn't fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. Sorry, the brain was not working there for a second. Right? You learn. You don't fail. You learn. But you have to be willing to tap into this immeasurable possibilities that are out there, which stops the suffering. It brings you out of your poor me, pity me, look, I have this box, and this is me, and this is me, and it brings you out of that mindset. It brings you away from your own suffering, from creating your own reality that, oh, people are going to think this way of me. You're already thinking that, so yeah, they're going to think that. It's self-fulfilling prophecy. It's all connected. Which is why this is what we work on in Galactic Health so much in so many areas of our lives all the time. Alright? So, that is it from the Chaos Mind right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to come over to Galactic Health, we are having another discussion today. Actually, it's in the private group. You won't get it in the public group. I am sorry. But tomorrow there will be a new yoga video going up in the public group. Every single day there's new videos going in the private group. It is the private one-on-one coaching. If you want to know more details about that, let me know. Get in contact with me. Until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you back here on the Chaos Mind with another little tidbit to help you guys through. Any questions, any concerns, anything that you're dealing with or thinking about, or as you're trying to implement some of these little nuggets and you're having problems, comment them down, come and have a conversation with me. We will talk it through. Okay? We will find a way to help you. Alright? Until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, you have a wonderful day and we'll see you then. Bye, guys.